Very good morning, dear students. Today I will discuss with you our next poem of Unit 3, that is Telephone Conversation. Now, you can make out from the title itself, Telephone Conversation, that it is a telephone talk. Conversation is a talk, and between whom? There is a British landlady and an African man. A capital. As you know, the title of Unit 3 is Race, right? So this particular poem also is based on the same racist theme, as it is written by Wole Soyinka. And Wole Soyinka is a very, very popular Nigerian writer. Okay? In this poem, through the example of telephone conversation, he is trying to tell that what is the attitude of the white people, towards the black people. Now there is this African man who has called a British landlady for obviously purchasing or renting a house. So let us see what it says. The price seemed reasonable. The rent. Location, indifferent. The location was also good, but when he's saying indifferent, it means it did not matter to him what the location was. The landlady swore, she promised, that she lived off premises. So, which means if the landlord is not living or the landlady is not living with you, it means that you are kind of free. The tenant is free. Tenant कौन होता है? जो घर rent पे लेता है ना? That person is called the tenant, and the owner is the landlady or the landlord. Nothing remained but self-confession. Now here comes an important thing. What is the self-confession? He says, "Madam, I hate a wasted journey." So he did not want that his journey be wasted. Why? Because he wanted to tell her a truth about himself. And what was that? I am African. And when he says, "Madam, I am an African," there is silence. Silenced transmission of pressurized good breeding. Good breeding होती है good upbringing, या हम जिसको बोलें aristocratic upbringing, या जिसको हम बोलें कि आप एक show off कर रहे हो किस चीज़ का? Good manners का. Okay? So out of that show of good manners, forcefully the landlady speaks up. Voice. When it came, lipstick coated, long gold rolled, cigarette holder tipped. So he says, he's imagining that probably this lady, his British landlady, was a smoker. She used to smoke. And what is the question that the landlady asks? How dark? She says, "Kitte kale ho tum? How dark are you?" I had not misheard. He said, I was wondering, what did she ask me? क्या पूछ रही है? What is she asking me? Are you light? कम काले हो या ज़्यादा काले हो? You know, isn't it weird? Are you light or very dark? And what did the African man, उसको क्या feeling आया? What did he feel? He says that I felt my position, my status, my individuality as a human being has been reduced to a machine. The phone जिससे मैं call कर रहा हूँ अपनी landlady को कि तुम button A हो और button B. Stench, generally stench is smell of rancid breath. Rancid होता है having a rank, a position. Of public hide and speak. red booth, red pillar box, red double tired omnibus. Omnibus होती है private bus, public buses जो होती हैं, that is omnibus. Squelching tar. Squelching is suppressing tar, जो tar बिछा है on the road. It was real. Shamed by ill-mannered silence, surrender. So what happens is basically the black man, he is feeling ashamed, he is feeling insulted, and he's also feeling disgusted. Disgusted at what? Disgusted at the attitude of the landlady. She has the audacity to ask him, what is she saying? How dark? How black you are? How dark, she says. How dark are you? You know, so he's disgusted at that thing, and he feels that his individuality or his position has been reduced to the machine. And what that machine is, that is the telephone. And red color, which is being used again and again over here, it simply tells us, the readers, that he is feeling disgusted over here. That is the significance of the red color being used. By ill-mannered silence, surrender. Pushed, dumbfounded, astonished, to beg simplification. So he says that I am feeling thankful to this lady that at least she is giving me option. Kis cheez ki option? Option to explain that am I dark or am I very dark? Okay, light or very dark. Considerate she was, right? She was having a considerable attitude towards him. Wearing the emphasis, changing the emphasis. So basically what the writer was saying, the poet is trying to tell you that this lady was considerate enough because she was giving the poet options, or let me say the African man, the speaker of the poem, उनको वो options दे रही थी. Are you dark or very light? So this option she is talking about. Revelation came. Revelation, finally, thing became clear to him. Revelation came. You mean like plain or white chocolate? So the black man over here, the African man over here, he understands that why this lady is asking him about the color of his skin. How dark, she says, are you light or are you dark? Now he understands the reason, and he is easily able to make out that she has a racist attitude. So he says, are you trying to ask me that am I a plain chocolate or a milk chocolate? Are you trying to find the difference between the two? See, both are white, isn't it? But he is trying to ask that, are you trying to ask me that is the chocolate plain or is it made of milk? Her accent was clinical, crushing in its light. Impersonality. So she was very insensitive as to how the African man was feeling by her question. You know, are you dark or very light? So you know what this shows? This shows her insensitiveness. Right? Now she says, rapidly wavelength adjusted. Still she's making an effort to get a proper answer, because of course she also doesn't want to lose a chance to get a tenant for her house. So he says, I choose West African sepia. West African sepias जो होते हैं, they are a mixture of red color and black color. Okay, and why he says so? He says, and as an afterthought, down in my passport, he says you can check my passport, and that is written. It is very clearly written West African sepia. But of course she cannot check it. Okay, silence for spectroscopic. Physically, she cannot examine his passport. That is what it means. And spectroscopic generally means a wide range of physical system. Now, since they are talking on the telephone, how can she check his passport? It was not in hours time that you can make a video call and check everything. It was at that time when Wolsoinka, he wrote it around 1975 to 65. That was the time when he wrote the poem. Now let's go ahead. So, flight of fancy till truthfulness changed. यहाँ clanged लिखा है book में, but it is changed her assent. Assent is she changed her thought now. She has finally decided that she will not give him the house. Why? Because of the certain things that he is saying. Hard on mouthpiece. It is difficult for her to say this on his face. She will not say, because in the beginning also, we read that pressurized good breeding. So she has to make a show off of good aristocratic manners, and that is what is happening over here also, to say no to this man. So when she's saying flight of fancy, that flight of fancy of renting out her house has come to an end. She has decided in her mind she is not giving him the house. What's that conceding? Don't know what that is. Like brunette? That's dark, isn't it? Not altogether. So he says, I'm a little bit brunette. Now brunette simply means dark. Okay? And that is why she has decided there's no point of giving this man the house. And he says that is not dark altogether. Brunette doesn't mean totally dark. And what he says further, now this lady has shown him insensitiveness by asking her these stupid questions, right? And now he'll also behave weird with her to make her realize that she has a disgusting racist attitude which she should not have. And how he kind of make her realize her mistake. He says, you don't go by my face, okay? You should see my other body parts, okay? And what he says, facially I'm a brunette, I'm dark in my face. But madam, you should see the rest of me. The palm of my hand, this palm, and the soles of my feet are peroxide blonde. That is, my palms and my soles are brown in color. Friction caused foolishly, madam, by sitting down has turned my bottom raven black. Raven we hum crow ko bolte hain. And he says, because I keep sitting, because of the friction, my bottom has become totally dark, totally black. One moment, madam, sensing her receiver rearing on the thunderclap, he could sense that the lady is about to put her phone down. So what he says, one moment, madam, please listen to me. About my ears, madam, I pleaded. Wouldn't you rather see for yourself? So through these, the last things that he is telling about the color of most of his body parts to the lady is, he is ironically making her realize that how stupid, how callous, how rude, how shameful, how disgusting her behavior was on the phone. Whereas we are reading, or Wolsoinka is telling us that she is trying to be very sophisticated. Out of good manners, she is replying to him. But then having a racist attitude spoils everything. You become insensitive to the other person, who too is a human being, irrespective of the color of his skin. Okay? And then at the end he says, please do not keep the phone down. Would you not like to meet me once? At least see me for once, and then decide whether you will rent out the house to me or not. But eventually, what do you think has happened? She has already decided, जब हम flight of fancy की बात करी थी ना, there only she had decided that she will not rent out the house to him. And she slowly and steadily keeps the phone down because she doesn't want to rent out the house to African man to a black man. So quite interesting. This is telephone conversation by Wol Soyinka, again showing the racist attitude of the whites towards the black. Now in this poem, Wol Soyinka, the poet talks about two people on the phone, and the story goes on to narrate how the African man is looking for a house and the landlady has proposed a considerable price for the same. See, everything was good. The place was good. He was happy that the landlady was not staying there, and the rent was also good. The poem strikes a positive note as the man gets to know that his privacy would not be hampered, as the landlady is living off the premises. The African man is happy to know that just before he makes up his mind to consider the offer, he forgets to mention that he is black. On the other end of the line, there was nothing but silence, which the African man takes it to be an impolite gesture of refusal. Please remember, जो silence है ना beginning में, that is a sign of impolite gesture. Wait. Impolite gesture of refusal. So this silence in the very beginning of the poem has indicated the refusal. However, the silence is soon broken as the landlady starts to speak again, asking him to explain exactly how dark he is. First, the man thinks that he might have misheard the question, but when the landlady repeats, he understands that this is something very important for her to know before she allows him to rent her house. Why it is important? Because she has a racist attitude. This is something that came out entirely devastating for the African man, and for a moment he felt disgusted with the question and fancies himself to be a machine like the phone, and that has been reduced to being a button on the phone. He could also smell the foul from her words, and he sees red all around, that she is kind of having a disgust for him. And why the disgust is there? Because of the color of his skin, that is black, or let us say dark. Okay, so this is all about telephone conversation. Interesting poem. How Wol Soyinka, through the example of renting out a house of a British landlady to an African man, how things change as soon as she knows that the man to whom I'm renting my house is a black person or is an African. Okay, so this is all. In case you have any doubts, you're most welcome. Thank you.